Welcome to Capture the Reps podcast, the podcast for fitness creatives by fitness creatives. Each episode, we will dive into techniques, strategies, and behind-the-scenes stories to help fast-track your career. Whether you're behind the camera or in front of it, this is the space to grow, create, and connect. Hit it, Sam. Well, I'm excited for us to connect because we always see each other at events and we just have like the brief, like, hello, like, how's everything going? But we never have the time to like really sit down and talk. And I want to just learn everything we can about you, Sara, because I feel like you live a very interesting life and you're constantly on the go, travel, things like that. And yeah. So to kind of start, like, I'm curious because first of all, I saw in your Instagram bio, 17 years you've been utilizing a camera.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I don't know if it's more. I haven't updated it in like 2 years. But my first job was when I was 18. And as a photojournalist, I got to work in the biggest newspaper here in Guatemala. And I had been doing photography before that when I was like 16, but that was just playing around. You know, I didn't have like a formal camera. I would take courses with people I knew were really good at photography here in Guatemala. And like one of my first like jobs kind of thing, there was this magazine called Guate Tonight. So you would go to parties, all the best parties in town, and I would be like photographing people there having fun. And so then the next day it would come on the website and people would go there because that's when, you know, nobody would have their phones or there wasn't like a Facebook or anything like that. So people would go to that webpage to look at all their photos.
Was it like celebrity type stuff or just kind of just you were in the community type aspect?
Just in a community, you know, like I guess it was a bit of high class, the people that were there. So yeah, not everyone got to be there in those parties. Not everyone was allowed there, but it was fun for me because then I would get to go to all these fun parties, you know. That was when I was 16, but then my formal, I would say, where I learned everything about photography was when I was 18. And now I'm 38. So it's been 20 years. Yeah. So it's not 17 years anymore. It's 20.
Yeah. And that's crazy to like think about. So you were out there at 16 taking photos, late night photos and things like that. So what was it that you really enjoyed about it? Like, because obviously there has to be a reason why at 18 you really like dove into it. Was there like a turning point or something that really like stood out for you?
Well, I come from a family of photographers on my mom's side. And I don't know, I always thought I really love photography, but I didn't want to pursue that as a career. That was just a hobby. And when I turned 19, I told my grandma, hey, I'm going to go into business school and I'm going to go work for you because she has like a really big business here. She distributes medicine to hospitals and pharmacies here. And so I told her, I'm going to study this and I'm going to work for you. And she was like, no, there's no way. Like, you're not going to do any of that. I don't want you working for me. My parents have been through a divorce and my grandma did. She's my dad's mom. So she was not very happy with my mom. She's like, you're your mom's daughter and I don't want you there. And it hurt me so much, you know, because, you know, my life I had dreamed, you know, I'm going to go to business school and then I'm going to go work for her because that's something that I grew up with, you know. And then she's like, no. So I'm like, what am I going to do now? So I started like emailing every magazine, newspaper that I could find. And I was like, I don't have any experience, but I'm passionate about photography. Please, can you give me a job? And that's how I got into that really big newspaper. I got an interview there and like, that's where it all started.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Yeah, especially you're throwing that curveball, your life's on this, like, you can kind of see the path of your life. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, got to make a right-hand turn. It's like, whoa, what a switch up. And then I'm curious, like at family gatherings, do you guys like, since you have a family of photographers, do you guys like show each other's work and like it gets competitive, or like, is it more just like fun? Hey, look at what I just got done shooting, that kind of thing.
Well, my grandfather, he passed away when my mom was, I don't know, she was 12, I think. So I didn't get to meet him. And then the other photographers on my mom's side, I got to meet one that was really famous here. She would always give me tips, but I think he died when I was like 16. And then my cousins, I have like 4 cousins that are photographers, but they all live in Utah, so we don't see each other very much. We would see each other when we were younger, but we don't see each other. And they're like in different, one is a fashion photographer, the other one is a portrait, like a family portrait photographer. And the other one, I think the other one is a family portrait photographer too. So I don't know. We don't really ever talked about anything.
Yeah.
Photography.
Well, your grandfather, then, were you able to like look at some of his like works whenever he was like some of his stuff that he put out there, and like, was that like any type of source of inspiration or like cool to look at?
Sadly, no. I did get to see my uncle, great uncle, I think you would call him, the brother of my grandma. I did get to see his work and his studio and the things he would do. But he was more of a portrait photographer. So, and I never really got into that. I've always thought I'm not a family or portrait studio photographer.
Takes a lot of patience. I was saying, like, on a previous podcast with Brett, like we just had like our baby photos done, and that's like a whole level of just patience and like setup and all that kind of stuff that I just don't have. So I can only imagine with an entire family, you got like kids running around and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I like the fitness stuff. So,
Yes, I did that. I went to school in Hawaii, and I was a assistant for a photographer there, and that's what we do at the beach. The family portraits with the kids and everyone. Really big families go to the beach and take pictures, and yeah, that was not my thing for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, that is cool. Like kind of like you're throwing yourself in there. It seems as though you're one to really throw yourself into things, right? And to challenge yourself that way, which I have a huge appreciation and respect for, because it's not easy, especially, looking at whether it be family portraits, whether it be late night photos at, the club and things like that. It's like, there's just, and the willingness to just do cold outreach. I mean, that's great. I love the grind.
Yeah, I feel like that's the only way that you get out there. You need to ask, don't have to be scared. All the time I get a lot of photographers talking to me like, hey, how do I get out there? I'm like, you just have to go and ask, like make a list and write all their emails. And what I do is I'll gather all the name of the brands and the clients or whatever is my goal. I'll write down whoever I want to reach out, then the email, and send everywhere I could reach. And then I'll prepare a speech and send it to everyone. I'll spend like 3 days doing that. And I think I've done that ever since I'm 18. And it works. You just don't have to be scared.
Yeah, that's incredible. So like, what are some like key things that you look for then when you want to work with a brand? Is it like a certain amount, like who they work with as like individuals? Is it like stuff that resonates with you personally? Like, how do you form that list? Like, what are some parameters?
I guess it depends on the goals I have at the time. The most recent one, I looked at their webpage and the things that they had posted before, and I really like the way it was going to, and it aligned with the goals I had. So I reached out to them, and from like 10 people that I'll email, 2 will work out. And sometimes I've had, I reached out to people who are not aligned with the things I want. I thought I knew, but not until you work with them, you will really know.
Right. No, that's a key thing too. And then having that realization that what you thought was one thing is actually something else, as far as like, maybe it's like a personality thing or whatever. So no, that's great. I love that. It's so smart. It's the way to do it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you learn through you make mistakes. And I remember last year, I thought I had reached to a company. And I was like, oh, I feel like this is going to be my break, from having to ask everyone if they want, having to always find a client. I thought, this is it, I'll stay with this one. And this one feels like a great opportunity. I got to work with this brand. And at the end, it didn't work out. They never said like why they didn't like my work. The administrator was like, Sarah, we love your work. It's not personal, His boss is a photographer, and I guess he just had his own, I couldn't get what he liked. And it's understandable, I'm not his kind of style. And it took me a long time to understand that when a door closes, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person or your work is bad. It just means that it's preparing the road for you to find a better door, But it's really hard to understand. I think I was depressed and really sad for like 6 months. I was like, my work is garbage. That's why I didn't like me. And I thought this was my break. But, an amazing door was waiting for me. And I'm so thankful that door closed, because I'm really happy where I am right now.
Yeah, it's crazy how life works out that way, right? Where you get your hopes up, you go on that pitch or whatever it is, and you knock it out of the park. But for whatever reason, nothing comes of it. However, because that one thing didn't go through, something else came through like the pipeline, so to speak. And that opportunity was something even better than what you thought the other opportunity was. So like just staying positive, and continuing to put yourself out there. I mean, you said 2 out of 10 is a great response rate. So I think for a lot of people listening right now, like they have to understand, like you get 2 out of 10. That means, you send 100, you get, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I'm not very good with math. 20. Yeah.
Yes.
20 yeses is, and like those are the hard numbers. So you just got to continue to grind and put that stuff out. That's it.
Yes. Yeah.
And now so let's fast forward after BYU Hawaii, and taking the beautiful photos of the ocean and the sand and the hair, going through the wind and the family portraits. What's next? What happens next for you?
I come to Guatemala on vacation, and I meet the father of my first son, the one that's 16. And
you guys met on vacation.
Well, he was not on vacation. He is from Guatemala, and I was on vacation visiting my family. Yeah, and so I came back, and I was like, I didn't plan to meet him, and I didn't plan to also get pregnant really fast. And my life changed like really fast. Like I'm 20 and I'm gonna be a mom. My dreams were to travel the world and be a photojournalist. I always dreamed. I really like the adrenaline of danger. And so when I was in the newspaper here in Guatemala, it was so dangerous. You would be at protests and like jailbreak and like so many things that were like made you be really nervous. But I really love that. Like for me, it would have been a dream to go to AP, work for AP or EFE or one of those, big news outlet. And out of nowhere, I cannot do that anymore. My dreams are, they're gone. And it's an amazing thing. I always wanted to be a mom too, but I wanted to be a mom later on in life, when I had done the things I wanted to do. But everything happens for a reason, and it was good. I enjoyed the journey and everything. I did stop photography for a couple of years because it was a bit hard to juggle, being a mom alone and you know, not knowing what you're gonna do and stuff. So when my son is around 2 years old, I start doing CrossFit. And I'm like, I really like this. This is really, it lifts me up. The depression that I'm in, it goes away. And I started taking pictures of CrossFit at the gym. And I was like, this should be fun photographing. And that's how I started, doing photography again. I thought I would have to do, family portraits because being a mom, it seemed like that was the only thing I could do, But then I discovered sports. And the funny thing is I hated sports when I was in the newspaper. I hated sports. Whenever they would...
What was it about it that you didn't like? Like, what was the...
I guess I never really gave it a try. I always thought it would be boring. I thought it was more exciting to be in the protests and telling that story. I always thought that with working in national news, you could tell the story and show people what was going on. You could make a change with your photos. That's what I loved about the journalism. And I thought, sports, what change can you do? There's nothing you can make people be better or want to help or change your country, So I never really liked it because of that. And, but then, I started doing CrossFit and it also gave me that adrenaline and that I missed. So I started doing it more and more. And then I started watching the documentaries, the CrossFit documentaries that the Butter Bro would do. And I was like, one day I want to go there. That's like a dream. And so, yeah, that's how everything started again for me in photography.
That's great. So that getting into fitness, having that as your outlet, what was that point where you're realizing, oh, I can totally bring my camera here. What made you dust off the camera? Because obviously, whenever life gave you that curveball, and that becomes your new sole focus, right? Raising a kid, which I fully understand. It's a full-time job and then some, especially if you're on your own. What made you pick up that camera then?
I was just looking the hard work that everyone was doing and how it changed our lives in many ways. For me, it had changed. That depression was gone. I had more energy and I was being a better person for my son being there. And I thought I could tell these stories of all these amazing people that they come from everywhere. And this sport is helping them in so many ways. So I thought I can photograph this. I think it would be really good to do it.
Yeah. And in a way too, you're showing the change, right? Is the, I guess I'm trying to relate the two, but I don't know if that's appropriate, but the idea of you are changing, showing the change in someone's life too, how their fitness journey and things like that is a way to kind of take that messaging forward a little bit.
Yeah. And it's just, for me, it was amazing to see the discipline that everyone had, show that not everyone can do that. And it's very admirable to see how people will have a full life and also dedicate their life to being better and achieving their goals. I know this girl that called my attention. I saw her since she started, and her life had changed a lot because of CrossFit, and the effort she was putting in and everything that she was doing. I thought, athletes, they're people that admirable, or what would be another word?
Inspiring, that kind of aspect.
Yeah. And if I take photos of this, people might be inspired to and want to do the same thing,
Yeah. Absolutely. No, and it's I see it all the time. You have, especially if you're taking photos and you're delivering those photos to individuals, and then those individuals share their photos with, let's say, their loved ones, their friends. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, wait, what are you doing? Like, this is kind of cool. Like, can I come and join you? Like, I want to be a part of this community. Everyone looks so like uplifting, and then they see the results and all. So yeah, it's crazy the impact one photo can make in someone's life.
Yes, it is.
So we go from the local gym there, and then you see the documentaries that are out there from the Buttery Bros. What's like the next step? Because obviously the next step is, especially because the games is stateside, like there's a lot more of a story there too, as to how you got, at the games and things like that. So how did you make that new dream come true?
It's actually the athletes that they contact me and they're like, we're going to Wodapalooza. Would you come and take pictures of us over there? We would love to have you there. And I'm like, this is very scary. I've never been, outside Guatemala. I've been to all the competitions here in Guatemala and taken pictures there. So I have experience in events and stuff like that, but never outside Guatemala. And so that was really, really scary. My husband was really supportive. He's like, you should do it. Like, don't be scared. Just give that step and do it. And I remember someone was selling VIP tickets for really cheap. And I was like, I'll just buy that and hopefully that works out. Like, I had no idea there were press pass that you could get or anything like that. I remember, they always post that you cannot take a lens bigger than, I can't remember the sizes.
Yeah.
They have all these restrictions. You couldn't take a backpack. I remember it said that you couldn't get a backpack in. I was like, how am I going to carry my camera? And like, my lens is bigger for sure, so I don't know what to do. I asked someone to lend me 300 that had like really bad aperture, like 3.5 and to 5.6. I can't remember, something like that, a really bad lens. Because that one was small and I knew it would reach out and I would be able to take those pictures. But I took my 7200 just in case I was able to sneak it in, And at the end, I was able to bring a backpack and get in my lenses. And I ended up taking lots of pictures from the VIP seating areas. And before in Wodapalooza, the VIP was right in front of everyone. So you had the best seating. I remember whoever had press pass would be in the corners where the VIP area was, and you would be right in front the VIP. So I had like the best seats and to take the picture. So it was really good luck that I did that.
Yeah. Well, I distinctly remember, I don't know, I'm trying to think if it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, where they had like that pool or something in the VIP area that like looked down onto the one floor, I think. But the athletes were always facing that way for this one workout, and we're, taking photos or filming from the side, and you're just getting all these like side angle shots. I'm like, I wish I had a VIP. So It resonates. It resonates a lot. So their individual athletes are the ones that, along with your husband, that kind of gave you that push. What was it about? Like, how did you get in touch with those athletes? I'm thinking from a standpoint of like someone that, may be wanting to follow that route of like, hey, I'll just follow athletes that are in my local community that I know are going to the games and, document them that way. Was there a conversation that you had with the athletes? Did they reach out to you based off of the work that you posted out there on Instagram or whatever? How did that all come about?
So this was back in 2022, I think it was the first one, or 23. I can't remember. It was one of those 2 years. And there were not a lot of photographers like from Latin America going to Wodapalooza. So that year, this girl contacted me and she's like, would you go? And I told her, yeah, sure, I can go. Like, do you know anyone else who would go? Who would want photos? And she's like, yeah, there are lots of people from my gym going, and I'm pretty sure if I tell the other people that I know, they might ask you too. And so out of nowhere, I had like 10 clients for Wodapalooza, and I didn't do much, because back then there were not a lot of photographers from Latin America going over there. So that was, and once I was there, it kind of spread out for between all the other Latin American athletes that I was there. So they reached out and also asked for pictures. So I was like, I need to do this next year too, because it worked out really well.
Yeah, no, that's it. So like, is the Latin American, contingent of photographers, that something growing with the athletes that are growing and coming over as well? Or like, what are you seeing from that community? Because I'm pretty out, I'll just be honest, I'm very out of touch with any other like creative communities outside of the States. I'm working on changing that. But I'm curious to see, like, to hear from your standpoint, like, what are you noticing on that end? Is there a lot more photographers nowadays? And like, what's been that shift?
Yeah, I feel like there are a lot more Latin American photographers coming out there. For some reason, they were just staying in Latin America and only doing that. But every day I see more people coming over, and there's so many talented people over there. I know in Argentina, they're like really good photographers. Costa Rica, I know someone that I have been asking him to like come to the States and try it out, but he will only stick to Latin America. And there are many out there. I think that seeing that other people joining from Latin America and doing work over there is like kind of calling them over there too.
Yeah, for sure. And then can you talk a little bit about like, obviously the difference in coming over? Like, are there some challenges in place that, you have to worry about? And forgive my ignorance, but I'm just trying to think of like, so that people are aware of all the obstacles that you do have to overcome whenever you do come to the States and work.
Yes. So,
okay.
I think that that part is a bit hard too, since I'm a journalist, and I have a media visa. It's easier for me to do that. But, for others, that might be a bit hard. And for me, I started going over there, because the necessity of people here, kind of made it so that I would go over there and photograph them in international competitions. I guess because of the lower prices too for us, whatever you would charge, it would be too expensive. But then what I will charge, it's equivalent to what people earn here. So I guess it was more accessible for them to like have photo packages. Now, I think it might be hard for other people too because of the whole visa and everything going to work over there. And that might be an obstacle. But yeah, I don't know. It can be hard. It can be hard.
Well, and I know it's like a constantly, especially with like, politics and things like that, things are always changing, as far as like regulations and rules and restrictions and this, that, and the other. So, I mean, I applaud you for, dealing with all that and making sure that you can come over, and everyone else that has to go through it. Like it's gotta be rough. Cause I mean, I look at just like like me paying taxes, like I get freaked out. That is nowhere close to this kind of stuff that you guys are doing. So, yeah, but, fast forward then. So we're looking at, Wodapalooza, and then what's the next step? Because at this point, you have the local competition experience, in Guatemala itself, and then you have Wodapalooza. What's like the next evolution? Like what happens next for you?
I had the opportunity. I got reached out by a news outlet from Mexico, and they were like, "We would like if you could go to the CrossFit Games and get some content from the CrossFit Games," and that was in 2024. Oh no, before that, I really wanted to volunteer and want a big event. And this is a
Like
funny
volunteer
story.
on the media team or like volunteer?
Yeah, on the media team. You know,
Okay.
there were
Yeah.
several photographers that I knew were really good, and I thought I can learn from them, and I really want to be there. So I volunteered, and I went to West Coast, a semifinal in 2024. But that is, I got the email, and I remember checking every day, like to see if I had made the media team. I would check every day.
You keep hitting refresh and you're like just waiting for that notification to come through. Yeah, I know that feeling.
And then out of nowhere, I get this email and says, "Since you never replied, you won't be able to be in the media team anymore."
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this was like my big opportunity to be in a semifinal and, you know, be in the media team and learn all this." And I was so sad. And I emailed back the person in charge of the media, and I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I have been checking every day." And I was so amazed that I never got, you know, an answer. And she's like, "I'm really sorry. You know, we still have, you could be in broadcast," she said, "if you still want to come." And I was like, "Sure, yeah, I'll be in broadcast. You know, I'll do it. It's fine." And I was really sad. I was really, really sad. And everyone would tell me, "You should take your camera just in case, you know, you should bring it with you." I was like, "But I won't be able to use it. It doesn't make sense." But I brought it anyway. And broadcast was the last 2 days. So the first day there was no broadcast. So I went to the head media and I was like, "Hey, this happened to me and I was going to be in your team, but I didn't see the email." So my spot was handed to someone else. But is there any chance I can still take photos? And he was like, "Yeah, you know, take photos. Bring me your card. I'll look at the photos and, you know, I'll give you my feedback and you can just take pictures." And, you know, this is Ty Randall. I don't know if you know him. He's like...
You're not, but he sounds like a great guy.
He is an amazing. I chose to be in that team because I wanted to learn from him. He has been to like 10 CrossFit Games. He is a total legend and he's really, really good. A really good photographer. And so he would give me feedback and like say, he's someone who takes the time and will sit by you and tell you, "Okay, what are you saying with this picture? Why are you shooting like this?" And explain to me. And then he'll tell me how to make it better and give me examples and stuff like that. And
what kind of questions are you asking him in that instance too? So he's asking you those. Is there anything that you're asking him whenever you're showcasing or showing your work?
Not really. It's more like a critique, you know, that they'll sit down and they'll be like, "Why did you shoot this photo? Like, this is not telling me anything." It'll be more of them telling you, which I love. That's my favorite thing for someone to do, like to tell me, "Please explain this to me." Or I feel like if they tell you to explain the photo, you're not doing your job well. It needs to speak for itself. And that's something that he also taught me, to like, I don't need to explain what someone's doing here. Like the photo needs to speak for itself. And so that was a great opportunity. They ended up using my pictures for the event. So that was really good.
That's awesome.
The other 2 days had to be like in broadcast. I was the one who would go call the athletes and tell them after someone I would tell them, "Hey, we're going to interview you. Can you come here?" So I had time to take the pictures. And then by the time it was over, I would go do my broadcast,
That's so smart.
work.
See, that's the way to do it, right? That's brilliant. I'm glad it all worked out for you too. That's great.
Yeah, it does. It's another lesson to like never be scared to push and try to, do what you were fighting to do,
Yeah.
And then, and that's when after that, I went to another semifinal as press to syndicate crown. And after that, I got called by this media to go to the CrossFit Games and follow the Mexican athletes. And that's how I got to go to my first CrossFit Games, which was a really bad year to go to the CrossFit Games. But, it was still an amazing opportunity.
Yeah. And, it's that constant put yourself out there theme throughout this entire conversation. That's, it's obviously your work too. Like, don't get me wrong. It's like you do great work, so your work gets recognized, etc. That willingness to take feedback, though, that's so important. I think a lot of us, for lack of a better way of saying this, get a little bit emotional about our, photos or our videos, right? And we shut ourselves out of being able to take feedback from others that maybe more seasoned or have been in it longer, that can really fast track a lot of things for you. Like that advice of the idea of like, why did you take this photo? Like, that's brilliant. Like it should stand alone and be able to tell its story by itself. And now that you say that, like, I'm thinking, and I'm just like looking mentally through like my Instagram feed the past, whatever, couple months with people that are very accomplished, which we know that's like a lot of people in our community, but that makes sense. Because every time I see a photo, I'm like, okay, like there's a story in this. Like there's one that Brett took recently this past weekend at Magic City where Osman, there's like this photo that he's in the hallway and he's like looking down at his phone. You can like kind of put yourself there in that photo and you're like, wonder what's going through his head, or like, what is he thinking through, or like, who is he texting? Like all of that kind of stuff's so cool to me. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. I will volunteer once a year just because, and I'll choose where I want to go. Like I'll see who the head media will be and I'll be like, I want to volunteer here because I know I'm going to learn so much. And I'll do that once a year just to get out of my comfort zone because I know I'll be working with like really good people and I'm in Northern California. I was so excited to go over there because I really wanted to work up close with East and John, and like everyone in the team is amazing. But when you're in the team, you get to see like what they do, and it's not that you're copying them. It just you get another like point of view of how they see life, and you always learn something from someone. So I will do that once a year. I'll try to do it every year because I know I'll learn. And I think that stick to me with my first job when I went to the newspaper because the person in charge of photography there, he would sit with me every day and he's like, okay, let's look through your photos and what did you do here and this, and you can do this better. So I guess I really like that because I still have so much to learn, so much. I came to, this CrossFit media, being a journalist, and I had to shift my mind a little bit into more like a commercial and more branding way of looking things. And so I feel like I need to learn so much from that because I'm still like in a journalist kind of way.
Yeah. So you're like, you were coming from a place where you were documenting just like what was happening as opposed to like, how would you frame that? So you were coming from a place of just like capturing what's happening, not necessarily, I don't know how to say it. I'm trying to
Well,
think of a cool.
when it comes to journalism, you don't really like, you're not supposed to alter the picture in any way. Like if the lighting
Mm,
was like that, it should be like that. Because if you alter the light just a little bit, it might tell something else.
got it.
Someone, I have it really fresh in my mind. A teacher told me for 9/11, there was this photographer who altered the light, making the smoke from the 9/11 towers be more dramatic, because of the lighting, how he adjusted it. And his career ended there because he was showing not the real thing. He had altered the light and now it made it more dramatic. And so that stick with me. And I was like so
Yeah.
scared of altering the light and everything.
That's so interesting. So basically, like, and then that can be taken by other outlets or people that want to use it for a certain agenda and take that altered photo and then kind of run with like a narrative or something like that. So I didn't even realize that was a thing in journalism then. I mean, definitely do not alter or edit any photo because any alteration can change what actually that's so, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You've taught me two
I
things
guess,
already. You've taught me a lot more than two things, but I will say I'm going to leave with at least two things. There's probably four, but
thank you. Well,
yeah.
I guess it's very different. I don't know how journalism is nowadays with this whole AI. That must be so hard.
I know.
But I'm pretty sure they are still holding up the same standards. Hopefully, at least the good ones, because there's so much. How do you call that? When you alter the information, there's so much that going on now.
Like misinformation, that kind of idea. Yeah. The AI world is crazy. And yeah, that's like a whole nother podcast for us.
Yes, that's another thing.
Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah.
So changing from not altering to like a world where, you will play with colors, you'll do coloring, you'll find your own style, play with shadows and light and all that kind of stuff. That's something that I had to learn, in the way, because that was something that I never did.
So like, what was that journey like? Because in a cool way, it's like you have all of the skills already, all of the hard skills, framing, how to use your camera, how to expose properly, all of those things. Really, it sounds like it's more of just the post-production that was new to you. So it's almost like you're working from a blank canvas where you can kind of paint however you want to. So how did you deal with that? Because it seems like it's like endless possibilities all of a sudden.
I'm still learning. I think I'm still learning.
We all are. We all are still learning. Trust me.
Yes. It's like, I don't know. I had to learn how to do video too. And I know that's something that's been really hard, but I'm getting a hold of it. So it's been, I've had to learn so many things on the way.
Yeah. And with that learning aspect, like, is there, outside of like having those conversations, is there any other tools that you utilize? Like, is there, the Guatemalan community, like as a whole, is it like the Latin American creative community as a whole? Is it, going on YouTube? Is there anything that really like stands out as far as like giving you like the knowledge to kind of run with it? Maybe it's just experimenting. I don't know. But that type of thing.
I have seen some really great photographers here in Guatemala, and they have taught me. There's one that's really good with video, and he still needs to give me a class about some editing things that I want to do.
Well, put him on blast. Let him know that you need a class. Like, let's get him.
I've been following him. I'm following him and texting him. He's a very busy guy. But no, there are like lots of amazing talent here too. And I've been following his videos. They're they're doing this thing where a lot of them are not showcasing their work that much anymore, and they're showcasing how they do their work and how they have, you know, how they edit and how they do this. So they're like lots of really good ones so out there doing that. I'm not much of
Yeah.
a YouTuber. No.
Yeah. I kind of am. So I hear you. But no, I feel like that's definitely more of a recent trend, especially I think it's maybe like with TikTok now, a lot more like raw behind the scenes type stuff of like how I did this and all of that kind of stuff. That stuff's very useful for sure. Like you're saying, I mean, anytime I come across something that I find interesting, like I'll bookmark it and then be like, all right, how do I use this as inspiration to create for myself? Or like, what can I grab from this that I can implement in my, day to day or something like that?
Yes. Yes, that is a good thing to do. And liking YouTube too is really good. I've noticed that people that are really good at editing videos, they all use YouTube to learn. And I need to do that.
Well, it's like the classic, like you just like, I have a question. Like, how do you, I don't know, something is basically like, how do I expose for being outdoors? You go on YouTube, how do I expose for being outdoors? And then there's like all these tricks and tips, hey, if you want some physical things, get an ND filter. Maybe you can sheet the shutter. Like there's all of those like cool things that I think are so helpful, especially if you don't have access to people that are experienced. Like if you don't have a built-in community around you, if you do have to travel places and work on media teams in order to get the feedback that you want and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting tool. I think I more side with you though, in the aspect of like, I like having a physical one-on-one conversation with someone and having that person look me in the eyes and kind of tell me different things, because then there's that idea of like having back to back, like you can ask another question or like a follow-up question or like, hey, what do you mean by that? And really dive into those types of things. So yeah, those people are so valuable in your life.
They are. You actually should do something that it really caught my eye when I met you at the CrossFit Games was how you posted.
The amount of caffeine I drank. I know it's very bad. It hasn't gotten any better.
No.
It's actually probably gotten worse. No.
Well, maybe that helped you out with everything you did. No, the amount of videos that you edited and you were posting so fast, like so many videos. I was like, how is he doing that? I really admired it.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I think it goes back to like I walk in with the strategy of being okay with like good, not great, or great, not amazing, however you want to phrase it. But like being okay with like not having it 100% polished, looking absolutely perfect, and the idea of like getting it out fast, so if there is like a big lift, like, Colton's like squat, right? I want to try to be first because everyone's going to have that same shot in the same angle and all that kind of stuff. So I might add like a little bit of flair, but my main focus is just to hurry up, get that clip and just rock it out.
It is cool.
And then, yeah. And then like after the fact, I can go back and like polish some stuff up, right? Like I can create the longer assets. Instead of just like kind of moment chasing, I can do more of like here's a full like entire CrossFit experience of, Haley Adams doing her thing. Right. And then it's just like literally like little clips from every single one of her workouts and then kind of post that out. So.
And see, that is something that I am still learning how to do because I want everything to be very polished and do my best and like choose the best pictures. And I want to go through all of them. No, it's bad. It's bad. Like that's something that I'm learning. And I think that in my last event, I did much better than this last one that I went. It was the first one where I can say,
it depends what your goals are, right? Same thing as when you reach out to clients. It depends on your goals. So like if your goal is to be more of like a because like I'll film different ways, right? So like usually like when I'm working with Lauren, it's like I'm filming as a news outlet. So when I'm a news outlet, I'm not necessarily like, you know, taking my 70 to 200 and like zooming in on someone's face. I'm doing more of like a wide, the entire floor, and showing everything in the movement and the progressions that way, and then focusing in on a person. If I'm there just doing more of like the, if you want to call it the athlete highlight packages, then I'm focusing strictly on one athlete and can create different things. So when you're a news outlet too, you want to be first because everyone, like I said, everyone's posting the same stuff. So I really think it's like what your end goal is and like why you're there, you know, who your client is. If your client's an athlete who, you know, they have 3 events in one day and they need something from event 1 before event 2 starts, you know, or is it, you know, a training group, you know, like training think tank or something like that, where they have like 7 athletes. So they just need a little bit of every single person. Or if it's like, you know, like a news outlet or something like that, then it's like, okay, let's document the entire event and show like people changing leads and stuff like that. So it really just depends on what that end goal is.
But I think that at the end, being the first one to post is always going to give you a great advantage. A really good
as far as
advantage.
engagement goes, for sure.
Yeah. But you're right. It depends on what you're doing. But I feel like in the, you know, in the circle that we're in, that's something that even clients appreciate very much, you know, how fast you can work and deliver.
Yeah. And I think it also goes to the idea of like not overshooting. So if you know that you need to get something out, you know, from event 1, but event 2 starts in like 2 hours, it's like, well, I'm not going to go crazy on event 1 and then have to look through all the footage and identify clips. I might just be very selective with what I pick and just try to get the bigger moments, or like just focus in on one athlete and then create something for that one athlete. Like that's how you can go about, you know, kind of going around it. Cause you know how it is. Like if you go in there and you have like 300 clips and you're just sitting there and you're like, I have like 20 minutes to look through 300 clips. Like you're not going to look through all those clips. There's no way. Right.
That's a great strategy. That's a really good strategy. I'm new in video, so I'm still learning the whole thing. So that's a great tip for me.
Well, it can even transfer to photos, right? It's the idea of like, photos a little bit different too, because I see people do different strategies, right? So if you know that you're filming see, I'm always thinking video. If you're taking photos for like a singular athlete, then you can really take more chances, right? If it's just one athlete, you can really like take the time to actually do a really cool composition, really good foreground, and you can kind of do that. If you're doing a training group, and there might be a couple different athletes on one given heat, then you're going to probably take a little bit less chances, right? Because you have to cover 3 different athletes, right?
Yes.
If you're there and you have an athlete package and you're covering like 7 athletes in one heat, you're really just going to document what happened and get them things, but you're not going to have the same flexibility as that one individual athlete, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The strategy will be very different. Yeah. If I have only one athlete, I get to be as creative as I want, because I'll have the shots that are really important, you know, the things that they're doing, but I'll also be able to play and do like movement shots and like get another view and move to different places, you know, and kind of find like those cool shots. But, you know, if you have 7, you need to get the shot. And then if you have extra time, then you can be a little bit more creative, but usually you can't. It's harder.
Yeah. And then, you know, the other variable is like, how long is the workout? Is the workout like a max lift? Okay, you're going to have like probably 3 opportunities to get like a cool photo. And then it's like, well, do I want the cool photo of like the actual like winning lift or like the main lift or like the PR that they set? As opposed to like a 30-minute workout where they're doing 3 movements over and over again. It's like, well, then you can take a little bit more chances. So there's some give and take there too, right? Because it's like, if it's if you're covering 7 athletes, but those 7 athletes are doing a 30-minute workout, and the 30-minute workout is just 3 movements, then yeah, you can pick and choose, because you're not going to take 100 photos of someone doing a burpee box jump over, you know?
Exactly. No, you won't. Those
Yeah.
are good. Those are good. I remember when I started doing video and photography, those were really good. The ones that were long, because then I could do both. I'm so happy I don't get to do that anymore.
Well, it like takes away the pressure of it all, right? If you have like that, like 3 to 5 minute, maybe 7-minute workout, you're like sweating. You're like, all right, I need to be focused here. Like as soon as that hits go, like they're going. The same thing as when you're an athlete, right? You're an athlete. You're like, I got to get this done like as fast as humanly possible. So I'm just going to go, holistic out there. That's the fun part. So it might not be the same type of adrenaline as, doing reporting and things like that, journalism. But, there are some little adrenaline spikes and things like that. So
there are, for sure. There are. And I love it.
So given that you're an adrenaline person, like, do you go skydiving and stuff? Like, is that?
No,
like,
I'm really scared of heights.
Okay.
So scared of heights. I hate it. Like whenever I have to do like from another point of view, I'll challenge myself to get into high places, but I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I'll do it for the shot, but I don't like it.
How high up? Like, are you able to like get in the stands and you're fine? Or is it like, even if I'm like the top level, like think of like, what was the one in Knoxville that you said, Syndicate?
Yes.
Like those, like, the stadium seating, like, does that kind of mess with you? Like, where you're like freaking out a little bit?
No, those are fine. I think that the ones that scare me is like, getting on top of a rig and, getting a shot from the rig of the wall balls, or like, I don't know, the toes to bar, like a different kind of view. Being in the rig where I don't have anywhere to hold and I have to hold the camera, that kind of stuff, that scares me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but being on the stands, it's fine. Like I can be high up. If I'm on the ground somewhere, or I don't know, I have somewhere to hold and I know I'm not falling, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like even I don't like being, I wouldn't say I necessarily have I guess I do kind of have a fear of heights a little bit too, now that I think about it. Because like we went on vacation and we were like on a lighthouse. And the lighthouse is like way up in the air. And then it's just like that little circle that you're around, but you're affected by the wind. So if the wind blows, you kind of like blow with it. Yeah. I was freaked out. I didn't do too well up there. So I feel your pain with that.
Yeah, it's not nice. Yeah, no, I think that the older I get and, with my kids and all, I don't look for that adrenaline that much. My husband, he has a motorbike, and he likes that adrenaline, and I used to like it with him, but after I had my second son, I won't go on a bike with him anymore. So it changes as I get older.
Yeah No, that's any other fears that you have while we're on the subject of fears, just out of curiosity? This is where people can get to know you. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. I don't know. I have a fear of being forgotten. That's something that really scares me. It's like people just forgetting who I am. And, not only in photography, but I guess, you kind of I kind of always wanted to do something that made a difference. I guess it's scary not making it, making a difference.
I would argue that you are making a difference.
Hopefully, in a way.
Well, think about what you provide to every single athlete that you work with, right? You're capturing those memories, stuff that they can, show their family, their loved ones, people that can't travel out there. They can put that stuff up in, their house, their apartment, whatever, to showcase and to have those memories for the rest of their lives. I think about that now often, not to bring up kids again, but it's like, the idea of our kids, like, my kid has no idea that I played college baseball yet. Granted, I didn't really play. I kind of sat on the bench a lot, but the idea of like that, right, is like we can share those memories with them for the rest of wherever. So
That is true. That is true. I guess in a world where everyone takes a photo nowadays, you can kind of forget that it's valuable, the thing you do.
Yeah, and the emotional response every time you do it, right? Like same type of deal. Like I'll take photos for my gym and stuff like that, and I'll send the photos out to people or send the videos out to people, and like the responses I get, even if it's something where I'm not necessarily like super like proud of or whatever it is, like I still might, I will send it out and they'll be like over the moon with it. And I'll just be like, wow, like, okay, this is why I do what I do.
Exactly. Yeah, that is true. That's a good point. I guess I haven't done that for a while now. I should go back to doing that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Something to think about. But
yes.
Cool. This was such a good conversation.
Yes, it has been really good. When did you start video and photography?
I want to say 2016, 17. So I started with the idea of like, I don't know if you remember back when vlogging was like a thing.
Oh, yes.
And forgive me, people, I've said this before, but like that idea of like making a photo or making a video every single day.
Like Casey Neistat? Do you know
him?
Like
that kind of thing. Exactly right. Yeah. And that's how I learned how to use a camera, was by doing that. So I did it for like, every time it's like a running joke, but every time I tell the story, it's like I had a few more days, but it was like 130 some days consecutive that I did it. And that really forced me how to use a camera and learn how to use a camera and all of that. One thing led to another. I worked like a few different jobs, and like camera work was always like in the back of my mind. It was always like there, but it never came to the forefront until really I worked at an ad agency. And at that ad agency, they had a videographer on staff who actually is the person who edits these podcasts, Sam. And he just, same type of deal. I would show him something and he would give me feedback. And then I just became addicted with that whole setup and never looked back. Started doing like weddings. Didn't like that because I love my weekends.
Yes.
Worked in the corporate insurance environment, which taught me a lot of things. But always in the back of my mind, I look at sports and fitness as like a nice, healthy outlet. I still do a lot of corporate stuff, but the sports and fitness is like my creative outlet. It's where I get the most joy. So.
Oh, nice. But that's also weekends. I guess it's not as fun as a wedding.
Yeah. And like weddings, after a while, like there's like this like script to them, right? There's like a shot list to them where kind of already know what you need to get every single time. And it's like, it's pretty much the same story every single time too. So it just gets to a point where it's just like, okay, like got it. You know what I mean? So. Yeah.
And do you only have done CrossFit, or have you done other sports?
I would say the majority of it has been CrossFit. I want to get a lot more involved with like other sports like baseball, football, basketball, that kind of stuff. And it's really just on to what everything that you described earlier in our conversation. It's like, it's on me to just reach out and to do that kind of stuff. But that is definitely something that I would love to do as well, just to kind of get out of challenge myself in different ways. So the idea of not just being just fitness, being sports and fitness, I think is very appealing, because I love team sports. So
it is really nice. I got to be in the official team for the Central America Games last year. And that was really fun because they had like all the Olympic games. And I got to do rugby. I got to do badminton, tennis, equestrian. I don't know how you call that, but with horses. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what else did I do? Baseball. And it's so nice to just get a fresh, point of view. It's really nice. Also, lately I've been doing more Olympic weightlifting, and the way
I've been seeing that. I've been enjoying that actually. Yes.
you have,
Yeah.
that
It pops up on Instagram all the time. I'm like, okay, Sarah.
it's so nice. You know, they only have 3 lifts, and that's it. That's all they do. So you need to like find a way to make it interesting and not just, show the 3 lifts that they do. So finding a way to show something, the lifts to make it more interesting, it's been eye-opening to me just to find new ways to show the sport, because it's very short and it doesn't last that long. I mean, it takes 2 hours. Yeah, it takes around 2 hours, I think, for one lift. Or is it 1 hour? Can't remember, but it's very long, for only 3 lifts that they do. You have to find a way to make it look interesting. So it's always nice to like go out there.
It's got to be challenging too, because I would assume like it's kind of the same setup every time. I'm not too familiar, but I'm assuming like, platform, the backdrop's got to be somewhat similar every time. So so what do you typically do then to make it different? Is it just the emotions that you're capturing?
I've only been to 2 of them. And it has been very different because in USA weightlifting, they do give you a lot of access. It's not like the CrossFit Games, that you don't have access to anything. And in those, you get access to all the platforms and you're around them. The only thing you cannot do is be in front of the athlete. But then you get backstage access and you get all the moments, like when they're waiting, when they're like trying to focus before the lift. You get so many moments that it's really nice. But then here in international meets, they're more strict and they'll only give you a certain area, kind of like the CrossFit Games. So with those, it's a bit harder to get other content.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, that's the battle we always face with restrictions. It's like, it offers a creative challenge, which is fun for us, right? Because it's like, how do you get creative in an environment where you're maybe really far away, or you're only allowed in a certain space, or whatever it is. So yeah, that's interesting for sure. I'm glad you're having fun with it, though. Yeah.
Yeah. It's less stressful than CrossFit.
What else is next as far as like what's on the docket for you? What excites you about like the rest of the year here?
I'm really excited for Worlds. I really want to go to China for weightlifting, the World's weightlifting competition. It's like where everyone meets. I'm excited for that one this year. And then I want to go to Olympics. So that's my second goal right now. It's like I want to make it to Olympics and photograph all those amazing athletes.
That's awesome. That'd be so cool.
Yes.
Then I'll be able to be like, I know an Olympic photographer. What's up, guys? That's right.
I know. I feel like, have you seen all those athletes that make it to the Olympics? They usually get, the tattoo. They get a tattoo that they've been to the Olympics. I feel like I need to get that if I make it to the Olympics.
For sure. Maybe put like a little like camera like in the middle or something like that, like a little lens or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
You have to.
Yes.
I mean, that's a combination of years and years for decades of work. Like absolutely. Like you got to celebrate that.
Yes. So that's the next goal. It's still a few years, it's not.
Yeah.
But I need to like go to other sports, not just the ones I'm doing. So that's what I'm going to try to do this year.
Awesome. Well, we'll be on the lookout for that. And obviously appreciate you taking the time to chat. I'll be seeing you who knows where. When's the next time our paths are going to cross? Maybe CrossFit Games?
Probably CrossFit Games, yeah. That's July,
I filled out the media application. I don't know what's going to happen with that. So
I know it's always like
if you're watching this, I promise to support CrossFit and to share the word and spread the word as much as possible.
He's amazing. He will. He's a great news outlet. He will post every great athlete right after the workout is done. So you'll get a lot of visibility for sure.
Yep. I'll have the camera right in the media pitch, or the computer right in the media pitch. Yeah.
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with waiting for that pass. It's always torture.
It'll be fine. Everything works out regardless, right?
Yes.
Whatever door. Cool.
Yes.
Well, that's a wrap on this episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Capture the Reps podcast. If you're a fitness creative and you found this episode helpful, please share this with a fellow creative and keep creating, keep learning, and keep capturing those reps. We'll see you next time.